Quick Fix proudly introduces its state-of-the-art windshield repair systems instructional video for the professional repair of automobile windshields. Repair bridge and injector. This is the Quick Fix repair bridge. The stainless steel injector uses a silicone O-ring called the quad O-ring to make a seal between it and the windshield. The screw-in plunger uses a round O-ring to make a seal inside the injector barrel, enabling it to inject the repair resin into the brake by internal pressure. Bullseye. The most common and easiest fracture to repair is the bullseye. To begin, clean the area around the damage to be repaired with a cloth that's been sprayed with glass cleaner. Bullseyes do not have to be drilled, but dirt and loose glass must be cleaned out from the impact point using a scribe or sharp point pick. Remove the screw-in plunger. Back off the injector barrel and level screw. Insert the quad O-ring in the injector barrel seat. Place the repair bridge on the windshield at the same time looking down the injector barrel to center it with the impact point of the brake. Once centered, flip down the suction cup lever to activate the suction cup. Now, turn down the injector barrel until the quad O-ring touches the glass. Then, another 1/2 to 3/4 turn more to ensure a proper seal. Next, turn down the level screw to level off the repair bridge. Now, place the inspection mirror on the inside of the windshield. If your kit does not include this inspection mirror, you may inspect your repair progress by looking at it from inside the vehicle. Place 6 to 8 drops down the injector and allow a few seconds for the resin to settle to the bottom. A syringe may be necessary to insert the resin by drawing a little from the bottle when doing a repair on a vehicle such as a bus or motorhome that has a flat or vertical windshield. Next, insert the plunger and screw it down until you see the quad O-ring lift and swell. You then have enough pressure. Allow a couple of minutes for the bullseye to fill. To ensure there are no air bubbles left in the bullseye, turn the plunger back 1 turn. This will draw any air bubbles into the injector. Now, turn down the plunger clockwise to pressure up the injector as before. This is called cycling. You may do this as often as necessary to ensure all air bubbles are removed and the bullseye is completely filled. Satisfied your bullseye is filled, the repair bridge can now be removed. Do not unscrew the plunger. Leave it in the pressure mode as it is. Hold a cloth or paper towel around the bottom of the injector to prevent any spray of the resin. Now, flip up the lever to release the suction cup and immediately place your cure tab on the impact point, scooping up the remaining resin to fill the pit area. Large or deep impact areas may require pit fill resin. You will notice that in most cases, the pressure will blow out the quad O-ring and it will be left on the windshield. With a cloth or paper towel, dry off this O-ring and put it aside in your kit box for the next repair. Then, wipe out the quad O-ring seat area in the injector. You may now place your UV light over the repair to cure the resin. 110 volt and 12 volt lamps will cure the repair in about 5 minutes. Resurfacing. The UV lamp can now be removed and the film tab can be removed provided the resin underneath is now cured hard. Resurfacing is an effective way to ensure a perfectly smooth surface for the finished repair. A new razor blade should be used and held at a 90-degree angle to the glass and scrubbed in a back and forth motion as shown. Eventually, the cured resin above the surface glass will be scraped away. The end result will be a perfectly filled pit level with the glass surface. Completing this, the impact point can now be polished to a brilliant sheen by applying a couple of drops of pit polish. Rub vigorously with a clean dry cloth until the dull area is bright and shiny. The windshield should now be cleaned with glass cleaner and the professional repair is fully complete. Star brakes. Star brakes are the second most common brakes. A star is a fracture with an impact point with several radial cracks generating from its center. As with the bullseye, the impact point should be cleaned of dirt and debris with a sharp pick. All the star brakes should be drilled in order to allow maximum resin flow during repair. Using 5,000 RPM on the Dremel drill, begin drilling at the impact point. Apply light pressure to the drill, allowing the drill to do all the work, and then release or back off, and then again applying light pressure. This method will prevent the drill bit from overheating and burning out. The depth of the drilling should not exceed half of the drill bit burr. You can drill to the inner layer of the windshield, but it's not recommended as it may rupture the plastic inner layer and cause a black spot. With the drilling process complete, the star repair procedure is basically the same as the bullseye repair. Set up your bridge as previously explained. Ultra-thin resin is recommended for star brakes. Using heat. Heat may be applied to the inside of the windshield in order to help facilitate resin flow. Heat should be used sparingly, as excessive heat could further damage the repair area or cause the cracks to close up tight, preventing any resin entry. Remember to use no more heat than a windshield would receive on a sunny day. Always allow any area of heated glass to cool before removing the repair equipment and curing the repair. Careful inspection of the repair is necessary to ensure all the cracks are filled to the ends. If the tips of these cracks are difficult to fill in, strategic pressure should be applied. Simply apply gentle pressure using your scribe or pick on the problem crack closest to the injector barrel. Steady pressure must be applied for at least 30 seconds or more. This method will spread the cracks slightly apart, allowing the resin to flow in easier. Once the star brake is completely filled, completing the repair is the same as with the bullseye. Remove the bridge while under pressure when using just the injector plunger. Cover your repaired area with a cure tab and cure with the UV lamp for the recommended time. Complete your repair by resurfacing as previously discussed. Water removal. Is there water in the rock chip? It must be removed before the brake can be repaired. Remove dirt and debris from the pit area. Set up bridge and inject a few drops of isopropyl alcohol 99%. Back off plunger 1 full turn or pump up vacuum side of the vacuum pressure pump. Apply heat on the inside of the windshield. Natural dehydration is the recommended way. For long crack water removal, high air pressure is recommended. Do not use heat. Long crack repair. When filling a crack with repair resin, it is the end of the crack that gives the technician the most trouble. The end of the crack is the tightest part of the crack and requires a moderate amount of finesse to properly fill with repair resin. First, the stress must be relieved from the very end of the crack. This is done by creating a miniature bullseye just beyond the end of the crack. The miniature bullseye should be made about 1/8 of an inch beyond the end of the crack and exactly in the center of the projected path of the crack. You may now drill to a depth of about 1 millimeter or halfway to the center of the windshield. Insert the needle into the drilled hole. Hold the needle perpendicular to the glass and gently strike the top of the needle with a tappet. A miniature bullseye should be easily made with this procedure. If not, strike the needle again with equal, not greater force. If this second attempt fails, drill the hole just a hair's depth more and repeat the process. We suggest you practice this procedure before attempting a long crack repair. Note, if you drill too deep into the glass, you may find it impossible to create a miniature bullseye. It's always better to be on the light side of the desired depth. It will be necessary to run the end of the crack into the freshly made miniature bullseye. Apply light pressure to the inside glass layer. The crack should run into the center of the bullseye. The end of the crack will have little or no stress and will fill easier than the conventional method of simply drilling the end of the crack almost all the way down to the plastic inner layer. It is time to prepare the equipment for the repair. Setup for crack repair is slightly different than routine rock chip repair. The injector has to glide over the glass. The suction cup of the bridge should be treated with petroleum jelly or Vaseline, and then smear the Vaseline alongside of the crack, the width of the suction cup, being careful not to get any Vaseline into the crack you are attempting to repair. Set the bridge assembly on the glass. Move the bridge assembly so it glides along the glass. Place the injector directly over the miniature bullseye and tighten, just as it is done in routine rock chip repair. Insert the repair resin C into the injector. Screw in plunger and pressurize. The use of the crack expander is beneficial in allowing the resin to flow into the crack. Attach the expander to the inside of the windshield at least 2 inches away from the end of the crack. The expander should be moved at least 2 or 3 times along the crack following the repair bridge. When the bullseye is completely filled with resin, glide the assembly along the crack and look for the crack to start filling with resin. Once the end of the crack begins to fill, the injector assembly may be moved further down the crack, making certain to never get ahead of the flowing resin. Note, it is important to remember that the first 2 or 3 inches of the crack repair are the most time-consuming and require the most patience. In some instances, the first 2 or 3 inches of the crack must be gone over until completely filled with the repair resin. The first 2 or 3 inches of the crack repair may take up to 75% of the total time needed for a successful crack repair. Once past the first 2 or 3 inches of the crack repair and the resin flows freely ahead of the injector, make sure that the injector is pressurized, completely filling the crack with repair resin. Suggestion: it is recommended to apply a couple of drops of resin to a piece of plastic cure film and place behind the repair bridge as the crack is filled with repair resin. This inhibits air from entering the areas already filled with resin and could save considerable repair time and disappointment. Once the crack is filled with resin, it is time to cure the repair. When the crack repair is fully cured, remove the plastic film strips and scrape the area clean of excess resin.